Hi, I'm Thomas Camp, and let's talk nerd. The term sandbox is used to describe a game with a central premise of exploration or investigation. An open world where the player has total control over what they do and how they do it. Older TSR modules were simply laid out like floor plans, giving the players choices on how to explore the dungeon and how to solve the problems within. As long as the players explored the map, it didn't matter which way it was done. Pathfinder games, in comparison, have always felt a little like a game of golf to me. Each encounter is a hole with an advised way of playing and how hard it is. Sure, it's up to the players to approach the hole any way they want, but after the hole is finished, they have to move on to the next hole in order. Holes 1 to 9, 10 to 18. They can't do hole 5 and then jump to hole 11. But in a sandbox game, the player has ultimate choice in what to do and how to do it. Play croquet with flamingos? Let's do it. The sky's the limit. I'm told players find this freedom daunting. I don't know if that's true. I've never had a player complain about having too many choices. I have had players, especially in a Pathfinder module, complain about the lack of choice. But the forward promises a sandbox, so let's see how this plays out. This is Serpent Skull, City of Seven Spheres. Okay, I've got us rehired. We're all set. Hopefully we can get this done before the wrong people start asking questions. We'll have to search by night because they'll be expecting us to be doing something during the day.
Who are we working for?
The Texan. He seems the least likely to be watching what we're doing. And the project manager is delightfully corrupt.
Is he going to be a problem?
The manager? Nope. The boss doesn't pay well, so I just dangled some coin and got what I wanted. Anyways, I got the lowdown on what the Texans group is up to. Looks like they're making a golfing resort out here. We're on as gardeners and technicians. What have you two found?
The ninjas are looking for something, but no one knows what. They're also the ones with the Hellnet connection, and they have it hidden somewhere. The government is trying to clear out the area for colonists by killing off all the creatures living here, which has made the locals very uneasy. The archaeologists are helping and hindering the government by taking away the artifacts, but are doing it very slowly and are trying to protect the locals. The Texan is just selling what he finds to the pirates, and the pirates are plundering everything. They even steal use of the Hellnet connection. The actual inhabitants are starting to band together, but their leadership is bickering. The Texan has hired a large group of them to help clear out the area, so they're divided. They must not know what his plan is. There's some really bad monsters living here full-time, and more that are either new here or visiting from time to time. The best part is the plant life. I've seen some really rare ferns and vines. I think we can get something really good here.
Bush, remember why we're here. AI is relying on us.
I looked into what the archaeologists have, and I'm sure we're in the right spot. They're so stupid. They think this place is some sort of religious site. Can you believe it? The expedition leader is a really old-school professor, making the evidence fit his theory. It's so hard to talk to them without wanting to laugh in their faces.
But you didn't let on what we're looking for.
No, they're too busy defending their pet theory to question me. You're wrong about the Hellnet connection. Everyone's using it. The ninjas don't know how it works and are trying to charge people, but there's no passcode, so everyone has access. They just don't tell the ninjas.
Are you sure we can take down the connection? If we can't wake AI.
Hellnet connections are small microfractures in the universe. The ones we call Hellnets really do lead to one of the many layers of hell, and they're all connected somehow. If you use the right magical item and attune it to a similar item, they can communicate with each other through the fractures. But the items themselves have a limited range, and the microfractures are very delicate. Environmental changes can cause them to flicker. Too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. And, if extreme enough, can shut them down permanently. It takes a ritual to open a new one, and that ritual is rare enough that these people will probably have to send out for a repair caster. That'll take weeks. Longer if we interfere with the messages, which will have to be sent physically. One fireball, and it's lights out. They lose any connection they have to the outside world.
We're actually doing this. If we pull this off, we'll be famous. Finders of the bourgeoisie fountain of youth.
Which we are using to repair our computer. Truly, stuff of legend. Let's recap. The players find a map while shipwrecked on a desert island. Once back in civilization, they get the map translated in 5 different factions. Pirates, corporate bigwigs, religious assassins, Indiana Jones wannabes, and government toadies all approach the party wanting a piece of the action. The players get a choice of which faction to ally with and who to lead to the Lost City. But the map only leads to a monkey person-infested outpost. There they find the true, Light-Bright-esque map to the Lost City hidden within. Once they violently clear up that problem, the players are now on the doorstep to this fabled Lost City. Let's be clear, this Lost City, however, is only lost in the sense that the, quote, civilized world, unquote, hasn't found it until now. Lots of things live in this place. For many millennia, powerful magics have kept this city hidden and in good repair, but over time, the magics have waned and now monsters have moved in. Tribes of snake people, frog people, monkey people, plant people, smelly lizard people, and just plain old people all share space with each other here. It's bigger than a typical medieval town, and with more visitors than a tourist destination. So much for Lost. This whole scenario revolves around the concept of conquest. This lost city is to be taken and plundered. If anyone playing is an actual archaeologist or a forensic anthropologist, be prepared to be kicked in the crotch. This is old school archaeology. Let's be honest here. The word exploring is code for killing and pillaging. Most of the action is taken up on murder, which isn't a bad thing. We're playing an RPG here, not a diplomacy simulator. It's just funny how often the idea of exploring ruins actually means busting into someone's living room and killing them. That is a really big parrot.
Oh yes, it has a wingspan of about 15 feet.
Pretty too.
They use their feathers to hypnotize their prey before getting in close and attacking. Just gorgeous.
It's decapitated a lot of ninjas.
It uses their skulls in their nests. I told it about the Hellnet connection and now it wants to build a nest on one. I think it thinks the evil emissions will give it superpowers.
You know we're going to have to kill it.
Oh yeah, I'm just waiting. I think I'll hit it with a couple of lightning strikes once it gets close enough to the Hellnet node. Combined with Rodney's fireballs, it should be environmentally extreme enough to shut things down.
Good.
They're kind of the jerks of the bird world anyways.
Every faction is here to pull secrets out of the ruins and sell them. Sure, the Indiana Jones wannabes are taking them to safeguard them for future generations, and the government people want to just take the land itself, but everybody else is here to plunder the place. I've always imagined the factions looting this place by literally ripping up the walls with mosaics on them and just shipping them whole cloth to buyers overseas. And the players are front and center of it all. And they have to be if they want to get anything useful out of this place. Once the players get to the city, each faction quickly makes a camp and then heads out to explore the ruins, once again making it a race to be named the true discoverer of this lost city. And again, this race is just a sham. Let me explain. Each encounter that the players participate in give them experience points, and these points accumulate until the players have enough to get to the next level of power. The more points they gather, higher level they get. But this module only has a set number of written encounters, and the players have to finish every encounter if they want to have the level they need to survive the next module. The factions are all competing to take the city, so they're doing the same encounters too, taking them from the players. The players can take out the veggie pygmies, but if the government people take down the monkey people, then they take that treasure, and more importantly, those experience points from the players. The race mechanic is terrible, and it's poorly defined. It forces the storyteller to either let the party do all the work and leave the rival factions as vague threats in the background, or the storyteller is forced to create random encounters to supplement the player's experience points and money needs, which lessens the overall feeling of the game. Strangely enough, it's almost better if the storyteller removes the rival factions early, or let the players wipe out each faction. But then that interferes with the overall plot of the game. You see, the players need all the factions for later modules, but that's a problem for later. The city is split into 7 sections, like the military area, the farming area, and the financial area, with a few other random encounters thrown in for fun. One area is in complete ruins and is populated by just monsters. The 6 tribes live in each of these areas, and are well described, along with their relationships with other tribes. They can be allied with or taken out, with a victory condition given for each tribe. They're all pretty interesting, but their history is not well explained. How did they come to this place? How did they even find it? How long have they been here? None of this is really answered. There's 2 monsters in this city that are particularly powerful. One is a giant frog monster called the Froghemoth. Wait! Aren't you from that crashed spaceship? Boy, you get around. The other is an otherworldly creature that has the top half of a beautiful woman and the bottom half of a snake. I find this creature totally fascinating. Without going too deep into the theology and cosmology of the Pathfinder universe, this snake woman is an ideal, literally built from the concept of all that is good and pure freedom. She is a small representation of the ideal of freedom in artistry, created for the express purpose of fostering the creation of art. She, along with 6 other sisters, were summoned from their homeworld and bound to the city during its heyday, and has existed here, the last of her kind to survive, ever since. And this long existence has driven her crazy. She now lives with one of the tribes, the one of humans, as a powerful but bipolar protector. And the humans know she's wacky and dangerous, but are too scared to deal with her. So it's up to the players to try and talk, or kill her. She represents such a conundrum to me. If she's a pure ideal, built from concepts, can she even go crazy? If she's unhinged in the mind, is she unhinged from her connection to her home? What happens if she meets another otherworldly being like herself? Will it try and kill her or help her? Can she be helped? So many questions. One could run an entire game off of this. So interesting. Too bad she's relegated to either monster to be killed or something to be allied with, then ignored. Disappointing. Speaking of disappointment, did I say disappointment? I meant unspeakable rage. The 7 spears, which the city is nicknamed after, are 7 magical spires that stand in the center of the city section. They represent the 7 virtues of the city, each linked to the section they are situated, and they have a bunch of huge magical effects on them, all unexplained and vague. Why don't the tribes just kill each other off? The 7 spears have a calming effect. How did the city remain hidden for so long? These spires keep the city obscured. How did this place remain in such good repair after 10,000 years? Those things. I'm sure I mentioned them. I hate these things. The players can't even interact with them. They don't even do anything useful except give minor vague bonuses. They're supposed to be extremely powerful, but they're just totally useless. Such a stupid, lazy concept. The fact the module is named after them is just salt in the wound. You know, I forgot something. This is such a huge piece of one of the minor plots that runs through the game, and I was going to completely gloss over it. To be honest, everyone I've talked to about this module glosses over it. It's so random and so unnecessary that it just slides right out of people's brains. There is an artifact in the ruins that the religious assassins are looking for. Hey, looky what I found.
Ah, the ruby sword. Where? What? How?
I know, isn't it great? A sword made out of pure ruby. This thing's worth a fortune. Heavy, though. Give me a hand, will you?
We have to destroy it. Quick, get a white dragon to breathe on it.
We're in a jungle. Not a lot of coal-based creatures out here. What's the problem?
What's the problem? What's wrong with you? Don't you remember this thing?
No.
Look, we went into the past, and Rodney became an evil god who got trapped in an extraplanar prison, and this was his sword and one of the keys to let him out. We destroyed it, and the gem he was holding a princess in, and then came back to the present and didn't go. And why is this thing even here?
Hey, Rodney, is this making any sense to you?
Who told me about this earlier? Didn't you say the woman in the first iteration had a ruby sword too?
Yes. She was a werebear. I think she said she could use it because it was an heirloom? Can't believe I didn't think about that. We were in such a panic we must have completely forgotten about it.
A werebear? Tall lady? Hung out with a douchey cleric and a pair of dwarves?
You know them? But we never went on that adventure. How could you know who they are?
Just because we never went doesn't mean they cease to exist.
Yeah, I've heard of them. Her sword is a sword of acanthus. It's a really powerful sword, but it can only be used by somebody who fits a really specific set of circumstances. Hers is only female werebears of a bloodline could use it. This one is old, but it probably has something similar as a trigger.
It's evil, and we should get rid of it. Maybe that's what the ninjas are after. We should give it to them.
It's an unwieldy sword made of freaking ruby. That sure doesn't scream subtle to me. And if it's evil, I'm not going to give it to a bunch of lame duck ninjas. Look, we'll hide it for now and deal with this later. No, we're not going to just destroy it. It's really old, and even if we can't use it, it'll be valuable to the archaeologist as a museum piece.
I don't like this.
Worst comes to worst, it must weigh a ton. We'll leave it at people. Or we'll strap it on the front end of the cargo loader from the crashed ship we explored. It's not far from here. It'll make a fantastic battering ram. It'll be fine. It'll give it a bit of a sparkle, you know? And you always thought that thing was ugly, so this will jazz it up a little bit. The term artifact is used to describe a one-of-a-kind legendary item. Excalibur, the One Ring, the winged sandals of Hermes, something that has a long history and is often extremely powerful with some serious drawbacks. They, in a game, can be unbalancing and are often used as the centerpiece of the plot. In this game, this powerful magical weapon is effectively hidden behind a loose brick in a fireplace. That's it. This is like the rocket launcher of destiny being hidden behind a Coke machine. Oh sure, if I'm in trouble I can go get it, but the rest of the time I'll just keep it out of the way. I'm trying to reduce clutter, you know? Most players just give this stupid thing back to the assassins and forget about it. Those that keep it are either allied with the assassins in the first place or kind of suicidal. You'd think that such a powerful item, a weapon used by divine assassins, would be key to the story, considering the end plot is to fight a god, but it's never mentioned in any of the later modules. Just a waste. Once the party takes over the city, the sandbox is over and the railroad begins again. A woman from another ruined city teleports to this ruined city, bringing a plot with her. An evil god is waking up, and it's up to the players who happen to be the right people at the right place at the right time to stop it. A bait and switch. Too bad this next module is the worst fetch quest I've ever read. Done and done. This may be the best sandbox I've seen in a Pathfinder module. As a standalone game, it's a lot of fun, with a lot of interesting things for the players to do and a lot of room for the storyteller to expand on. I like it. I like it a lot more than the second module. Where this really falls down is the concept of a race. Without a solid racing mechanic, it feels just like a token effort. The players will bust their asses to come in first, only to find out they didn't have to do anything at all to win. It's not very good, and it's another poor example of what Pathfinder is capable of. But it's not the worst. No, that special place is reserved for the next module. Let's dig deep and look at a real example of a bad module. Let's look into the vaults of madness. Until then.
I was just talking to some plants. Looks like the boss's excavations have upset some undead. They said there was a pack of them creeping around. They sound a lot like wights and ghouls.
Ouch. This puts a wrinkle in our plans. We're not kitted out to deal with those kind of creeps. Where are they coming from? This place is getting worse. What the hell's wrong with these ruins? Besides the ruby sword, all we found is empty buildings and monsters.
What do we know of bourgeoisie? Maybe there's some clue in the history.
I've heard of it in connection to the Pleasure Dome Decree, a pre-Ragnarok law that caused the gods to destroy the old world and make it anew. Something about minimalizing the gods' and goddesses' influence on life. The gods' rules only apply to the realms of the afterlife, so it was pointless to follow them in this life. That was the idea that was debated in my class anyways.
In the Wizard Academy, it wasn't presented as a theological debate, but as a thought experiment. Can you live in paradise while being an awful person? The classical answer is presented as Ode to Bourgeoisie. Basically, bourgeoisie was a city of the rich that followed no rules other than the ones they could enforce. A small bureaucracy and a huge private army. Slaves were all people condemned for the crimes of not having enough money to get out of slavery.
Sounds like the Texans.
The pride of the populace was a magic fountain that granted eternal youth. They could live in opulence and cruelty and never die and never have to pay for their crimes.
Then the world ended. Bet the gods were super happy to see the lot of them.
That's why I believe in reincarnation.
Everything says the fountain was only brought out for special occasions. The rest of the time it must have been stored. When the city was looted, it's possible the fountain was hidden so no one could find it. No one has ever claimed finding it. It has to be here. We just need to figure out where.
Maybe the undead know. But I'd sure hate to go into a nest of ghouls to ask questions without some sort of really good protection.
You know, we moved the cargo loader not far from here. A skilled pilot could smash any opposition we encountered from those asshats.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Artificial intelligence online. Cargo lifter fully operational. Weapon systems online. Oh, where did this ruby sword come from?
Well, when you're right, you're right. That ruby sword sure makes a fantastic battering ram. And some really nice accessory. I approve.